An underground army was found, but no one knew who it had been built for. The soldiers survived. The king did not. How do you lose an entire royal tomb? It took archaeologists nearly 10 years to find the answer. Welcome to Mosaic Antiquity. 1984. Jiangsu Province, eastern China. Workers at a brick factory near the city of Suzhou were leveling a patch of ground when one of their shovels hit something hard. They dug it out, a small clay head, a face, nose, eyes, mouth. Archaeologists arrived within days. They started digging, and kept digging. What emerged was an army. More than 4,000 clay soldiers buried in 5 pits. Infantry, charioteers, archers. Rows of horses still waiting for their riders. A complete military formation, perfectly arranged underground for more than 2,000 years. The world already knew one famous terracotta army, the one guarding China's first emperor. This army was different. This one was in Suzhou, a provincial city, far from the imperial capital. And when archaeologists looked closer, they found something strange. The soldiers were arranged in chaos. Weapons were mixed with the wrong units. Charioteers were buried next to infantrymen. Horse parts, legs, heads, bodies had been dumped into the pits like trash. In one pit, a massive rock had been left in the middle of the formation. Soldiers were placed directly on top of it. In Han Dynasty China, burial was the final ceremony of a lifetime. The tomb was believed to become the ruler's palace in the afterlife. Nothing was left to chance, unless something had gone terribly wrong. Wang Kai, a veteran archaeologist, was certain the tomb was on Lion Mountain. He started walking. Day after day, month after month. 1 year. 3. Nearly a decade. Nothing. Then one afternoon, he was watching 2 old men play chess in the village. One of them mentioned something in passing. "I heard someone dug a sweet potato cellar on the mountain years ago." Wang Kai froze. Lion Mountain was solid rock. You couldn't dig a cellar in solid rock unless the soil had been dug before and refilled. He found the owner of the old house and dug a test trench behind it. 1 meter down. Still soil, not rock. 2 meters. Soil. 3 meters in. The shovel struck stone. Wang Kai knelt down and brushed away the dirt. The stone had chisel marks, the entrance to a king's tomb. The entrance was not a simple tunnel. It was a shaft cut straight down from the top of the mountain, 17 meters deep, the height of a 6-story building. From the bottom of this shaft, workers had carved 12 chambers horizontally into the rock. They had hollowed out an entire mountainside. At the entrance, several massive stone slabs blocked the way, each weighing 5 or 6 tons. But someone had been here before. February 21st, 1995. An archaeologist named Chu Yongsheng tied a cable around his waist and was lowered into the tomb. The chambers were empty. The coffin had been forced open. The king's bones had been dragged out and scattered across the floor. Experts estimated the robbery happened about 100 years after the burial, during a time when the empire was in chaos. And it wasn't random grave robbers. The method suggested official looters, people with resources. But on the floor near the entrance, archaeologists found something. Jade tiles. Thin, polished, with small holes drilled at each corner. One of them still had a short strand of gold wire threaded through. A jade burial suit, the highest form of funerary clothing in Han China. In Han belief, jade was thought to preserve the body and carry the dead toward immortality. Reserved for royalty, and they found something else. 3 side chambers the looters had missed. A kitchen, an armory, a bathing chamber. More than 2,000 objects untouched for 2 millennia. A jade coffin, assembled from dark green jade plaques. Hundreds of official seals belonging to the Chu Kingdom's government. The man buried here was not an ordinary noble. The evidence refused to form a clear picture. The terracotta army was chaotic. Soldiers scattered, weapons mixed, horse parts dumped in piles. In Han China, a funeral was the most important ceremony of a life. No one would bury their king this way, unless no one was in charge when it happened. The same confusion showed up inside the mountain. The tomb was unfinished. Some chamber walls had been polished smooth. Others were still rough, the chisel marks untouched. One chamber was only 1 meter deep, a room that had barely been started. Outside, a 30-meter ramp had been cut only halfway. The stone blocks were still sitting where workers had left them, stopped mid-task. And it wasn't just what was incomplete, it was what was entirely absent. There was no toilet. In every other Han royal tomb, bathrooms were standard. The dead were believed to continue living in the afterlife. A palace without a toilet was unthinkable. Piece by piece, the evidence pointed in one direction. This burial had been rushed. Then there was the Jade suit. The gold wires had been pulled out, leaving only the tiles scattered on the floor. The looters took what they could melt down and sell. The Jade, strictly controlled by Han law, was too dangerous to keep. That part, at least, had a simple explanation. But the chaos in the army and the unfinished chambers, those happened before the burial, not after. The looters didn't cause a king's tomb to be built halfway. Something had stopped the construction. Very suddenly. Archaeologists started eliminating suspects. Only a few could have owned this tomb. The first king, Liu Wu, ruled for 23 years, died peacefully. His tomb would have been finished. Not him. The second king, Liu Yingke, reigned only 4 years, died of illness. But he had never commanded an army. A man who never fought would not be buried with thousands of soldiers. Not him. That left one name. Liu Wu, third king of Chu. He was the grandson of the man who founded the Han Dynasty, a prince born into the empire's highest bloodline. In 154 BC, the central government began stripping power from the regional kingdoms. These kingdoms were ruled by members of the imperial family, but they controlled their own armies and territories. Liu Wu joined 6 other kings in open rebellion, the Rebellion of the Seven States. The imperial general Zhou Yafu cut their supply lines. The rebellion collapsed. Liu Wu took his own life. He died suddenly. His tomb was still being built. One explanation could account for almost everything. Look at the mountain again. Every unfinished chamber, chisel marks frozen mid-stroke, every misplaced soldier, weapons mixed with the wrong unit, every abandoned stone, sitting exactly where the workers left it, 2,000 years ago. All of it preserved in the exact moment a king died. The Terracotta army, meant to guard Liu Wu in the afterlife, was hastily thrown into the pits. The chambers were left rough. The ramp was abandoned. The bathroom was never carved. Skeletal analysis confirmed. Male, about 173 centimeters tall, around 35 years old at death. No battle wounds, no sign of disease. Liu Wu died by his own hand, not on a battlefield. Everything fit, except for the one thing that shouldn't have existed. The Jade burial suit. A rebel king, forced to take his own life. How was he allowed a Jade burial suit, an honor reserved for the empire's most loyal nobles? Was it a political decision after his death? A gesture of mercy from the emperor? Or did the chaos of the collapse simply mean no one was paying attention? 2,000 years. No answer. Subscribe to Mosaic Antiquity as we uncover the stories buried in the past.